What's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro duel video. Judgment Spellbooks, I think one of the best decks ever in this game's history, starting from 2003-ish, right? Judgment Spellbooks, I mean Spellbooks before 2013, before this, I think one of the best spells ever printed in this game's history was really Spellbooks were a fair deck, but as soon as Spellbook of Judgment was revealed and released after, the deck got an exponentially big powerhouse, right? Together with the Dragon Rulers and, as you know, I think one of the most, if not the most famous format again ever in this game's history, being the Dragon Ruler / Spellbook format. The deck is pretty self-explanatory with Spellbook of High Priestess, of course, Kaiku, the one of Justice, one of his fine, but Jogan here in the main deck, because, as you know, it's a special summonable target off of your Spellbook of Judgment. You know, as Spellbook of Judgment is very similar to Sky Striker, well, it makes sense, with, you know, as soon as you activate your Judgment, which is a quick play spell, by the way, so you could potentially use it during your opponent's turn. Again, every spell you activate after that, you can search any spellbook card from your deck and add it to your hand. And after that, yes, as even if the card needed more, you can special summon a spellcaster type from your deck with its level equal to the amount or lower to the amount of spellbook spell cards you just searched. So I think in most situations, especially going first, remember this is pretty much during the Dragon Ruler format, so it was either the mirror match, so yeah, Spellbook mirror match, right, or the match against Dragon Ruler. So basically full force Dragon Ruler with the babies, super rejuvenation, that was that format. And if you went first with Spellbooks, having the 6th card, of course, I mean, and of course, yes, Spellbook of Judgment was searchable off of Magician of Prophecy, off of Spellbook of Secret, so the deck was so consistent as well. But if you're able to use or activate Judgment with a couple of spells after that, like Star Hall, for example, pumping up those smaller monsters like Magician of Prophecy Magician. I mean, Jogan as well. You could just special summon Jogan in your end phase and block all special summons. And if your opponent, let's say, if you're played against Dragon Rulers, that in most situations, in at least game number 1, would have already been GG, especially because in most situations, because the deck was so consistent, you could protect your Jogan or Jaugen at the same time with Compulse, Phoenix or Wing Blast, maybe Mirror Force, attacked Mirror Force, but Spellbook of Fate as well, which was I think quite popular at 2 here in the full force Spellbook deck. But anyway, being able to block especially your opponent out of the duel with their special summon mechanics was just so unfair. Let's not forget, you have like a +3, +4, +5 of searches before that. So again, the Spellbook of Judgment is definitely one of the most unfair cards, unbalanced cards ever printed. Why was it printed, right? Anyway, so getting second this time against Chaos Dragons. This is definitely an okay field. I think I use a Fate here during the end phase. So the second one here, the set is not live. That's all fine. Just going to Judgment. Is it Excapital? I think it's Excapital. But okay, it does get this small combo of both Pulsar and Red-Eyes Darkness Spellbook Dragon on the field. But for something like Spellbooks, a deck that can go +10 during a first turn, it's some ridiculous BS, right? Going for double power, I think. Yes, Spellbook of the Master, copying the Spellbook of Power, I think, to get, yep, indeed, getting the double search, and I believe at least searching the Spellbook of I forgot the name, the Necro Spellbook, you know, the Monster Reborn for the archetype, basically. So using Fate, I should have another one set to put the Magician of Prophecy, well, face down, right? It does get the effect when flipped face up. And Kaiku was also one of those cards that if Jaugen was already off of at least out of the deck in your hand, let's say, you're not able to, or at least when you're not able to special summon it to the field with the Spellbook of Judgment, against something like Dragon Rulers, special summoning Kaisu or Kaiku, however you pronounce it, was also a very powerful play. Well, basically preventing your opponent from banishing monsters from their graveyard, right? So again, going first, I think I only had 2 spells Maybe activating another Spellbook of Wisdom, you know, the Forbidden Lens for the Spellbook archetype to get the 3 searches. That might have been an okay or decent move. It also could have gotten me Yugioh on the field and an extra search, so that might also have been maybe better now I think of it. But anyway, he does go for, I believe, Soul Charge into Shockmaster, so definitely a solid opening, getting an extra draw as well. Pot of Avarice is already alive, or should already be alive, and of course he's calling spells, but I think, yeah, Justice was banished, so I think he knows. Yeah, he definitely knows. At least one Priestress, High Priestress in my hand, and that's already, of course, an out against Shockmaster, so immediately get Shockmaster off of the field. Just making sure that he's not able to use Shockmaster during the next turn, if I survive, right, since, not really sure his hand, even though he has a couple of pluses over me, his hand doesn't seem that fantastic. Yeah, double construct, okay, that's cute and all. The foolish, maybe for something like Falco, yeah, there it is. Okay, he does have an El Shaddai fusion and the bottomless trap hole already. He could maybe go for Winda, but again, Winda isn't that strong against spellbooks. I mean, you can just drop a High Priestress, right? Pump it up with a couple of Spellbook of Power or something like that. Anyway, Star Hull might seem a strange card, but in this particular build, I mean, back in those days, back in 2013, there were multiple builds and even winning YCS builds that weren't even running Priestress, High Priestress. Again, very strange, but that's how it worked back then. People didn't really like High Priestress and just focused on Prophecy Magician, the level 2, right, and just gaining those extra pluses, and of course Star Hull of giving your small magician monsters like Kaisu, Kiko maybe, the Magician level 2 Prophecy, Jaugen as well, to give them just the extra attack boost and gain control out of the, at least over your opponent, right? And then just keep cycling through your banished pile with Spellbook of Eternity and of course Spellbook of Master of Copying Eternity, and of course, thanks to the field spell, keep recycling your Fate or Eternity. So the deck was just so insane and unfair. Another example is another duel against Teledat, yep, but sadly for him, going first this time. So again, a very solid opening move, Jaugen in hand, okay, that's all fine, no Kaisu, just go for the second Prophecy Magician, and okay, Heavy Storm is fine, but you know the field spell does trigger when destroyed. I believe you can special summon a spellcaster from your deck equal to the amount of Spellbooks I think you have in your graveyard. I think that's the effect. Anyway, get Justice on the field. Justice is, I think, just fine as a one-off. It wasn't that popular in Spellbook of Judgment builds. One-off, it just seems just fine, but you rather want to keep in most situations your normal summon for your level 2 blue boy, right? Anyway, in full control of the duel, I think Spellbook of Judgment has already been activated. Yep, 5 searches and special summon the Kaisu, and yeah, of course, Tribute Justice as well, getting another search and searching High Priestress as well. Yeah, it's so insane, right? Going second against GB now against Gladiator Beast, potentially very dangerous. I mean, the Gladiator Beast deck does run multiple Cold Waves, I think 3 Cold Waves, so let's say if GB goes first, activating Cold Wave first, and then, you know, normal summon something like Laquari, I can't activate any spells. Maybe my best comeback after a Cold Wave would like be High Priestress, right, would keep me in the duel, but if the opponent opens with Cold Wave, it might turn out pretty bad, and you know, him ending with Heraklinos or something like that, but and then again, Heraklinos he does need to discard, and Gladiator Beast isn't really the best deck of, you know, gaining a lot of advantage over your opponent. It needs more time, right, with Equest and Chariot. But anyway, long story short, just get plus 10 over your opponent and special summon Jaugen, protected by your back row slash the Solemn Brigade or Fate, right, which is searchable, so, and then you just win the duel. That's how easy it was. Last duel against Windups, he gets to start, and he does open with hand loop, he does open with any wind-up is fine, wind-up factory as well, so that already seals the deal, or at least, yeah, get the hand loop going with wind-up hunter, right? I think eventually is able to discard 3 cards out of my hand, not that fantastic. The Jaugen I think is also discarded, quite unfortunate since Jaugen also has like the extra effect of discarding 1 random card and then all special summoned monsters on the field are destroyed, so basically like a dark hole card, if that makes sense, right? But he does have the Solemn Judgment set, using the Spellbook of Judgment here, that potentially could have gotten the extra surge during the end phase, but that would have been it, depending on which card I drew with Upstart Goblin. I believe it was Star Hall, so Star Hall, another one, yeah, potentially 2 surges and the special summon, so I might have survived if it wasn't for Solemn Judgment, but yeah, whatever, right, he's able to deal the last damage and attack for the game. So it seems that Spellbook of Judgment or Judgment Spellbooks, one of the best decks ever in this game's history, is just loses to another deck that can basically do the same BS. And so looking at the wind up like hand looping, but anyway, just rambling, right? Anyway. Spellbook of Judgment, Judgment Spellbooks from 2013. If you want to see any other decks here in this particular series, the series is ending pretty soon, at least across Banlist Cup for 2018. Looking forward to the next series 2019, at least across Banlist Cup of 2019. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.